I like to make quick video, and I realize I'm limited to about 10 minutes, so realize it's probably not going to do justice to the subject. But I'd like to talk about the cult of the unconscious mind. The idea that there is this magical unconscious mind that is able to do all of these things and perform all of these magical skills without any effort whatsoever. And I understand the allure of the romantic idea of an unconscious mind. I understand the laziness involved in believing in an unconscious mind because it takes all the responsibility for what you're doing off of you. And you get to give it to some unconscious entity. All right, this is classic scapegoating. All right, some well-meaning therapist decides that you have this unconscious bully, which you're allowed to go now blame for everything that's going on in your life. All right, this causes more damage than you could possibly imagine because now you're not focusing on what's going on in your life. You're trying to satisfy an unconscious mind. Okay, now let me say this really quickly. There is absolutely zero proof that I have been able to find in my 25 years of research that there's any such thing as an unconscious mind. And I used to use the metaphor. I used to I mean, I was into it. Like I said, I'm a certified hypnotherapist. I've been studying hypnosis for 20 years. All right, I've actually used the metaphor of the unconscious and the development of things that we've come up with lately. Like the 3D mind and the way that we teach persuasion and influence. Basically toss that whole metaphor out because we came up with those because the unconscious metaphor tended to be so much damn work. First, you had to get somebody and turn them into a believer. All right, that's a cult mentality. All right, when I have to get somebody to believe that there is an unconscious mind before I can actually go on and do the next step, that's a cult mentality. All right, it's damaging to the people. Um, the whole idea that there's this invisible person back there pushing buttons, making things happen, or a dual personality. I mean, there's actually one field of hypnotherapy that I find not only laughable but destructive called alchemical hypnotherapy. And they have your criticizer, your baby, your father, your mother, your cook, I don't know what else ridiculous thing. And they've taken that even to a further extreme to alchemical animal hypnotherapy. So you have your lion, your eagle, your bunny rabbit, all right? This level of ignorance is almost astounding, okay? Now there is a better explanation. Okay? There's a better explanation. What about one fluid mind? It's your mind. It's and you're in charge of it. You can access different states of consciousness to be able to perform different tasks. Okay? And these are different tools that you have. But there's just one mind. All right? And that mind, is working sometimes for you and sometimes against you, depending upon how that mind is physically working. All right, you can't just keep going into the blame mode of blaming your unconscious. Now, the other hand, there are people who worship the unconscious mind. They worship at the altar of the unconscious mind. All right, I mean, I've had people actually do this, and again, it's so sad, and comical at the same time that I'm hard pressed to know which way to actually react. Um, I asked somebody a question, all right, and they said, well, I'm going to ask my unconscious, and then when I ask my unconscious, then when I get an answer, I'll let you know what I'm going to do. Right? You got to be kidding me! You're going to take facts, figures, ramifications, conscious skill, and shit can it all, so that you can go ask your magical unconscious mind. Okay, that's looking, that's turning your unconscious into an idol, which is a cult mentality. Okay, I want to say a cult, not a cult, but also there's stuff there as well, where people start thinking that their unconscious is the path to touching the universal consciousness. All right, I've got serious problems with the concept of universal consciousness because, frankly, I don't really think the universe cares all that much. I am in charge of my life. I am empowered in my life. I am the person that has to do things. I am not going to sit on my ass and wait for the universal consciousness to drop something in my lap. All right, that's absolutely absurd. All right, it's beyond. So I had this great guy. He was a really really nice guy. we were teaching a seminar in England, and every time I asked him to do something, this is what would happen. He'd go like this, his eyes would flutter, and he'd go into a trance. And I popped him on the head. I said, "What are you doing?" "Well, I'm going into a trance to access my secret abilities or whatever, or so that I can do what you're asking me to." And it's like, do you do that all the time? Because listen, that's creepy. You're going to do that in the real world? That's creepy. All right, I need you out here talking to me. I don't need you going into a trance every time you need to do something. And basically, the guy was convinced that in order to do anything, in order to accomplish anything, he had to actually go into trance states, contact his unconscious mind. "Hello, unconscious mind, it'd be awfully nice if you were to come back and then figure this out for me and do this out." Come on. Come on, folks, this is common sense. You know, it's not that your unconscious has superpower. It was just a good metaphor for a limited amount of time based upon research from people, hundreds of years ago who, come on, who frankly had zero understanding about how the brain physically works. Zero compared to what we have today. All right? Now, here's the funny part that cracks me up about the cult of the unconscious mind. On one hand, the unconscious mind is brilliant. It knows everything. It is able to figure out problems and do things that you're not even aware of doing. My unconscious brilliance brought me here. On the other hand, the unconscious ain't too smart. Okay, well, I'm unconsciously not getting a job, or I'm unconsciously afraid of snakes, or gee, daddy, I unconsciously drink and smoke and all this other shit. Okay, so we have a problem. How can the same functioning entity of the mind be both brilliant and stupid? It can't work. Two things can't be true at the same time. Sooner or later, push comes to shove, and two things cannot be true at the same time. All right. I'm really sorry because I know I'm really popping some people's bubble on this, and I'm trying to follow what I've been doing on the list and trying to explain these things to people. And the fact that people will believe this kind of stuff without any proof or evidence whatsoever is frankly frightening. I mean, if you look up the definition of a cult, it's basically you're changing somebody's mind to get them to believe in something else, giving up all responsibility and all judgment in lieu of an authority figure. Okay? Well, that's basically what people have been doing with something called the unconscious mind. All right? Now, what is really going on? All right, that's very important to understand. All right, anytime you have a disconnect or an out of balance condition in the brain, all right, where you are strictly a thinker and not a doer, or strictly reacting without thought, especially if you're reacting without thought, because it's a primal brain function. I mean, it's frankly, see snake run is a primal brain function. And a lot of people are living a see snake run life and blaming their unconscious. All right? A lot of people sit in bed all day and think about what they would do if they would get their ass out of bed. All right? And they're waiting for unconscious intervention. Well, in a way, that's kind of right. When you have thought with reaction, when you have reaction balanced with thought, when your brain is working in a balanced way, you have movement in your life. Okay? It's purposeful movement. It's movement with thought. It's thought followed by movement. You have a life that's going in a direction. Now, too many people have gone to these self-help seminars, and sat in a chair and waited for somebody else to fix them. And I don't know how to pop your bubble. Nobody else is going to fix you. You are going to fix you. The idea that somebody could put you into trance and give you a suggestion to a mythical figure inside your brain driving a little car that is both retarded and brilliant at the same time is going to fix your life? Come on, folks. Most of you are relatively intelligent out there, all right? I understand not all of you have the advantage of being able to look at these things 24 hours a day, all right? I've been researching this for 25 freaking years. I've been through everything. Everything I've tried with an absolutely 100% open mind. Certain things worked. Most of them failed. All right? Most of them failed. Things like affirmations. I'm going to say something long enough until it's true. That doesn't work. It never has worked, and it never will work. But that's for another video. That's for another time. All I want to do right now is say, listen. I've asked for people to to do, for those who are believers in the unconscious mind, to do two things. One, find me proof that there is an unconscious mind and send it to me. Two, operate for just one day as if there is no such thing as an unconscious mind, and think of any other explanation for what's going on in your life. Okay? Stop being a cult worshiper and start being a life liver. Alright? Go out and live life and have fun. Okay? And quit being a mind-numbed follower looking for other people to solve your problems. Okay? Because it's not going to happen. You are the one who's in charge. And I'm sick of the bullshit. Thank you. Have a nice day.